As we talk about prospecting, we need to agree on what the definition is. A lot of times I hear agents and loan officers, title, home protect, people in the industry say, I'm prospecting today. I said, what's that mean? Oh, I'm mailing all this stuff out to people. Well, that's marketing. I'm going to my BNI meeting, I'm going to the Chamber of Commerce meeting, I'm doing those kinds of things. That's networking. Well, I'm passing my business card to everybody. That's networking. Not efficient networking, but we'll talk about that. Prospecting is really meeting people you don't know. It's not taking your friends to Starbucks and sitting with them and saying, I'm a salesperson, this is what I do, can you send me referrals? It's networking again. Prospecting is meeting those people you don't know right now, trying to develop new relationships. Prospecting is new relationships. Marketing is supposed to be for existing relationships. And too often we take marketing to tons of people we don't know to send them stuff that they don't reply to. So prospecting, let's agree, it's meeting people that we don't know. And I believe prospecting is actually the fastest sales cycle. What I mean by that is, could you tap your sphere of influence this week if you had to get a listing? I mean, you had to. Somebody's going to give you 10 grand if you get a listing this week. You got to tap your SOI and get a listing. And you might say, well, I could do that. Question for you. Could you do it again the next week? In the next week, for 26 weeks in a row, could you get a listing out of your sphere of influence or a good hot client out of your SOI once a week for 26 weeks? I would think we would all agree that you can't do that. However, in the prospecting river, which again is the fast sales cycle, there's really only a few groups specifically for realtors. That's the dreaded for sale by owner, expired listing, or open houses, where you basically have a chance to meet some unmet people today. We know that if something really was seriously on the line and you hated doing FSBOs and you had 7 days to get a listing, you could probably do it. If you're equipped and you have the will, but as long as you're equipped, you can list a buy owner. Usually when people say, well, there are not enough buy owners around here, well, expand your territory, because something really important is on the line if you don't get that listing. What would you do? Expand your territory, maybe raise your price point, but you could do that. If you saw, let's say, 4 to 7 FSBOs a week, could you get a listing? If you just maybe saw 4 FSBOs, could you get 1 listing out of that? The worst case, it's got to be 7 listings. So imagine you're in a 26-week program and saying, well, you know what, I'm going to go prospecting one more time in my career. I've got a 26-week run, and my goal is to be so focused on this that I'm going to get a listing a week for 26 weeks. Now, if you fall short and you get 18, you're still pretty far ahead. But this was your last run in the prospecting river. It's a way to boost your business up in a very short period of time. Why buy owners, by the way? Which seems like nothing new. However, the good thing about the buy owners, we know they're moving. They have a for sale sign in their front yard. Probably don't have a realtor in mind. Maybe they do. It doesn't really matter. If you see enough people in 1 week, but stick with this for 26 weeks, what's the worst that can happen here? But you've got to stick with it. Because why? We need to find people right now in the flow of moving. If you're looking for a boost in your inventory, if you're beginning in the business, you need a boost in your inventory, or your listing inventory, you've been doing this for 17 years and your inventory is really low because your market ping river didn't work and your network ping didn't work, well, you know what you got to do? You got to prospect for a season. We're not looking to do this for the rest of your career, never to repeat it again after this year, or the 6, 12, 24 months or so. So the FSBO, be equipped, be different. We'll talk to you soon about how to use the ping process to get them to contact you. And then the expired listings. Again, we know they had a for sale sign in their yard yesterday and they've expired today. The question is, if you are doing this in your office and 5 other agents are doing it with your own brand in your office, needs to be some kind of differentiation. As I mentioned to you before, this realtor I'm coaching right now, that he just got pinged by a $2 million seller. For the Midwest, that's pretty good. He's getting some other pings that keep coming into him because he doesn't have a lot of time to go out prospecting. So the business is now coming to him. And he had expired programs before, they weren't working. But once he incorporated the ping concept, he's getting people to call him now. Lastly, we have the old open house, as old as real estate. And this is better for the farmer, not the hunter. Because the farmer says, I like people to come to me. The question is, should you do open houses? And usually I would say, you won't see top producers there, and there's a reason. It's a little bit slower moving. In the fast sales cycle, FSBOs and expires, you can get a business in a week. If you have to, you can get a listing in a week. If you're seeing enough people, and you have the scripts. I'm talking about regular scripts. We're talking about scripts that move people emotionally from no to yes with you in a short period of time. And as we look again at open houses, you're waiting for people to come to you. And you know how people come through an open house? You ever been to one where they start walking around the property? What do? Do not make eye contact with the realtor. Just don't look at the realtor. As they kind of cruise, don't ask the realtor any questions. The open house that we'll teach you about is extremely interactive. It's going to have the people walking through asking you questions by what's happening at the open house. This is really much more of a performance, and there's questions that are involved that will actually keep people, to ping you while they're walking through, because they're going to be intrigued by how this is presented and how the communication is as they're walking around the property. We'll uncover that mystery for you soon. Thanks for watching.